United States. So let's start off first by talking about Justice Kavanaugh here. So apparently a man showed up at his residence and he was armed with a firearm with the intent of killing Justice Kavanaugh. Says some of the reporting on this. They say the suspect in this case did let police officers know, hey, I was here to shoot and kill him because I heard this is where his house is. So not good, right? To shoot a Supreme Court justice, one of the highest seats that you can sit in our nation, and somebody has attempted to assassinate him. Now, luckily, Brett Kavanaugh was not harmed, his family was not harmed, and the man was arrested and taken care of. But you would think that media outlets would be talking about this non-stop. It should be on the front page of every single mainstream, legacy, independent media outlet saying, oh my gosh, can you believe that somebody sitting on the Supreme Court was almost assassinated by a crazy man with, it seems to be, political intent here. Now, we'll go through some of the background on this. There are pro-abortion and pro-choice, whatever you want to call them, protesters who are outside Justice Kavanaugh's home. I don't know if they're there at this very moment because police have barricaded it in the wake of what's happening. But it seems as though this person who attempted to assassinate or had the plan of assassinating Brett Kavanaugh did so because of a multitude of political feelings. It might have been the Uvalde shooting. It might have been this draft opinion that was leaked from the Supreme Court by who? I love how we still don't know who did that, and we just brush that off and we're not talking about it anymore, but we'll get to that. And here's a little bit of the protest that's happening outside of Justice Kavanaugh's home. I'm not gonna lie, they're good at slogans. Keep your rosaries off my ovaries.
That's generous to say that's good, but okay.
It rhymes, They're really good at signs and slogans, but imagine just living your life like this and waking up every morning to this going on outside your door. I think I would just move to a hotel or something like that. I would not be able to put up with this, especially with his wife and kids and all that stuff. It's ridiculous to have to be going through this in the first place, and to mix a crazy person trying to assassinate you into all of this is just beyond me. So this happens. The guy gets arrested. And you would think, as I said before, that this would be all that the news is talking about. This should be from the morning to the night. We were talking about Justice Kavanaugh and this possible assassination attempt on his life. But no, here's a tweet from John Hassan. He has looked up the New York Times and with his Google search looked in to the Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping, which, if you guys remember, she was the Michigan governor, and there was a kidnapping plan that was foiled by, I believe, the FBI. They had plotted to come and kidnap her in this strategic move between a small group of men, I believe. And look at all the different New York Times articles on the Michigan governor. I'm not saying her life is any less important, but certainly the seat that she sits in is far less important than Kavanaugh's seat. And New York Times, because this person represents their ideology and their side of the aisle, ran with this story like nobody's business, article after article after article, as you think one would when an elected representative is having their life threatened in some way, shape, or form by people who represent a radical ideology. Here is the same Google search with even pointed Brett Kavanaugh, home, searching New York Times. This is what we got. COVID and race and armed man traveled to Justice Kavanaugh's home to kill him. One article from the New York Times. Unbelievable. And all because he does not represent their ideology, does not represent what they believe. Imagine if this was Sotomayor or Ketanji Brown Jackson, if that was the threat that was being faced, if their lives were being placed under threat in this situation on this day. Everybody would be up in arms. It would be worse than probably all the January 6th coverage that we're getting right now, which we will get to, the January 6th coverage, because somehow we are still talking about that. If that had been an attempt on any of their lives, or any of the justices who represent the opposite side of the aisle that we are on, what do you think would be happening? there would be a Patriot Act 2.0 for what's going on right now. But no, because it's Justice Kavanaugh and we don't like him, and we saw that one time that he was accused of that unsubstantiated sexual assault claim. Crickets. Quiet. Nothingness. And this is not just for the New York Times. It is everywhere, and we're going to get into that as well. But I want to talk about a point of hypocrisy. Let's talk hypocrisy, because I did mention January 6th, and January 6th has snowballed into committees and investigations and talk of a new Patriot Act and surveillance and all this crazy stuff. And why was that? It was because on the day of January 6th, the president at the time, Mr. Donald J. Trump, did a speech outside the Capitol and said, "You guys fight like hell." Remember, that was the part that we got to hear on the news day in and day out. Fight like hell, fight like hell, fight like hell. They cut out the part where he said, don't be violent, just use your voice, use your words. We cut out that part, but we heard fight like hell. And we also heard the term inciting violence. We were told that this man, Orange Man Bad, incited violence and caused exactly what happened in the Capitol on January 6th. Never mind the security guards who opened the doors and let them in. We won't talk about that. But that's what we were told. So I'm curious. Here's a video here of one Mr. Chuck Schumer talking about Brett Kavanaugh, talking about the Roe v. Wade leak of the draft opinion from the Supreme Court, which was already an undermining of our democracy, but we'll get to that later. Here's what he had to say about that. Is this the same? Is this the same vein for you guys?
I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price. You won't know what hit you if you go forward with these awful decisions.
He said the word hit. He said the word hit. That could be a connection to the gun, the firearm. With the firearms, when you shoot the bullet hits you, right? Could we not call that an inciting of violence? You know what? I wouldn't do that because I am a reasonable person. But I just want to go back and hold people accountable for the things that you heard previously. Because what you heard previously is that Donald J. Trump said fight like hell, and that incited the violence that happened on January 6th. That's what you heard. That's what they ran with. That's what justifies all of these investigations and the committees that your tax dollars are going towards. But when you say you're going to get hit with it or you're going to pay the price, that's not the same thing. Not the same thing when somebody subsequently goes and takes those actions or takes those words and makes them into action? Just a question that I would like to pose for you guys, because it seems like a little bit of hypocrisy is a brewing.
Right. And to say you'll pay the price to a Supreme Court justice, that can only mean violence, because it's not as though they'll pay the price in the polling booth. They're appointed to lifetime terms. Right. And so what are you insinuating? What price are they going to pay? You know, like there's not really room for that to be purely rhetorical or purely political in nature, the price that they're going to pay.
Exactly.
You can't enforce a price on them if they're, unless you're talking about some sort of threat or violence against them.
Yeah, you're talking about, violence. You're talking about protesting. You're talking about people not leaving them alone. You're talking about them not being able to run away from the decision that they made, a decision that you should have never even known about, and we still shouldn't know about because the opinion has not been let out yet. But we will talk about that later. Of course. So I just want to point out the hypocrisy, where it lies, and so that we don't forget the past transgressions, because we're very good at doing that, because the news cycle moves so quickly and it's always a new story, and we never remember what happened 2 weeks ago, let alone 6 months ago or on January 6th. So important to talk about those things and circle back, as a young Jen Psaki would say. Now, here's another tweet out here. A foiled plot to assassinate a Supreme Court justice days before the biggest opinion in 50 years does not make page A1 of the New York Times, but it's buried on A20 of the New York Times. That's where they decided to talk about a Supreme Court justice possibly being assassinated. A20 of the New York Times. It doesn't surprise me. I can't say that it surprises me anymore, because we've seen this happen time and time again, as I used to always say. We've seen it happen time and time again. If they get a story that does not support their narrative, they do not run with it. They bury it. And when they do write the articles, they leave out the important details that really speak to the story itself. We did an episode way back when about the Waukesha Christmas parade and the young guy who literally got in a car and barreled people over with it. But because that man was black, guess what? What happened to the story? buried under pages and pages and pages of news articles that you would never hear about. But as soon as it's a white perpetrator or somebody who fits the narrative or somebody who's done it for a reason that is politically right-leaning, they run with it. It's front page. Twitter has it trending. Instagram, it's there for you to see. Every single social media platform, every single news outlet is throwing it in your face, and they're running with it on a 24-hour period. So they have their agenda, they have their intent, and they have what they want you to see. And this should be extremely concerning to people to see the coverage that's happening right now. Because if you don't hear about a story, it didn't happen. If you do not hear about a story, it did not happen. So if you don't hear about this, it's gone. And if they can just continue to curate the narrative that they want you to hear, the propaganda that they want you to hear, and just bust it out to you day in and day out, they can formulate public opinion. They can formulate who you vote for. They can formulate what you support, what you disagree with. They can literally build your entire life for you as a news outlet. And that's why people don't trust them anymore. That's why people like Joe Rogan are being watched more than CNN and MSNBC and ABC. That's why the Daily Wire has more subscriptions and people watching than any of these legacy media outlets, because we know, for the most part, that they're lying. But it's still important to hold their feet to the fire, because how many people don't know that? How many people don't see it? How many people get to see a video like this out of CNN and think that this is the full story?
Very little detail at this point, Kate, other than to say this man is he's an adult man from California. We don't yet know what the nature of the threat was. We don't know what language the threat was or what kind of weapon this man might have had, if he had one at all, because the information at this point is just so thin. But Kate, this certainly contributes to this overall threat landscape we've been talking a lot about. The major concern here with this abortion ruling from federal officials, and they've been sounding the alarm on this for about a month, is that Supreme Court justices will certainly be, potentially targeted by violent extremists who are angered over this pending ruling that is poised to strike down Roe v. Wade. This is an extremely passionate issue. There are emotions on both sides. Federal officials have made clear over and over they believe the risk truly comes from both sides of this abortion debate. So certainly this case, really solidifying what federal officials have been warning about. People are angry. They might seek to use the abortion ruling as a justification to cause violence, and that puts these Supreme Court justices, their staffs, and other members of the judiciary, especially the Supreme Court, at risk.
It sounds like she's using it as justification. And if I remember, there was an old bedtime story told to me once of an orange man who said it was on both sides. And the media heard the quote of saying that it was on both sides. There's passion on both sides. There's good people on both sides, whatever. And ran with it like the world was on fire. Like the man should be impeached for what he had just said. What did you just hear from CNN? I just want to keep pulling it back. Keep holding it accountable. Keep drawing the comparisons and keep pointing out the hypocrisy, because it is so ever present in every single story that I feel like we're covering today. It is blatant. It is obvious. And it's so clear what's going on now, what the motivating forces are behind these attacks. There are emotions on both sides, though, guys. It's a very passionate issue on both sides. We should expect that there should be targets on the backs of our Supreme Court officials and their staffers. Insane, the world that we live in. Insane.